Hello and welcome to tonight's Get in Tune. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out where my camera is. I don't have it on my tripod like usual. So, um, thank you for joining us. I'm back after 2 weeks. I took 1 week off for just because I needed a break, and last weekend was my wedding anniversary, so I wasn't doing a show. Um, but I have a great show planned for tonight. A lot of great guests come on. We got 4 people tonight. That's going to be a big one. Um, but they're all part of comic book school. They're all part of the new issue of Creator Connection Panel 2. Um, I can't wait to talk to them about it. I've got to take a peek at it. Um, it looks really good, guys. So let's just bring on everyone. I'll let them introduce themselves after everyone comes on. So hello, 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 and hello.
Cheers.
Everyone, how's everyone tonight?
Doing very well.
Doing
Thanks.
well.
Good.
Doing great.
Great.
So, and Ara, I don't know how to say the last name. Glenlian, is that right? Says hello all. So, hello there.
Hey, dude.
You want to go around? We can go around, introduce ourselves. Just if the way I'm looking at the screen, we'll start with Alex.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex Sapountzis, part of Wayward Raven Media, and I'm an artist. I keep it simple.
That's great. Next up, Ari.
Hi, I'm A.A. Rubin. I am a writer and editor, and I'm an editor of this anthology of Comic Book School as well.
All right, cool. And then we got Kris.
Hi, guys. I'm Kris Burgos. I am a writer and editor at Tales Beyond. I'm also an editor for this anthology, Panel 2.
Awesome. And last but not least, we've got Dee Alley.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dee Alley. Along with my co-editors on the anthology projects for Comic Book School, I am a comic book artist and aspiring comic book writer. Also, animator in my day job. So
awesome. That's great. And we got in the audience the great Buddy Scalera, my comic book school people. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in, Buddy. Buddy, if you want to join in, we can get you the link. So, let me just check something over here. Did I miss something? Oh, okay. Sorry. We got comments. Mike Wilkie's in. Howdy. So, right back at you. Howdy, Mike. For those who don't know, Mike is a great cartoonist. Always like the king of the one-liners over there. Does a lot of single panel gag stuff. But he says they are the stars, and that is true. Joe Ryan says, "Hey guys, hey Joe." So let's talk. You guys, some of you were here last year. Was it last year or was it still 2020? Wait, no, it was 2020 when you guys were here. So last year, talking about Creator Connection, Panel 1. Someone want to explain what that was and how Creator Connection came about, and then we'll move into the new issue here.
Okay, I think I get to take that one because everyone's pointing but me. So Creator Connections came out of a conversation that I had with Buddy. I was in a bit of a creative rut and went to Comic-Con in 2019 and met Buddy Scalera. A lot of people have been going to his panels for a very long time. And I think he was a little frustrated that, people kept coming to the panels and they loved the panels and they learned so much and, they met other people, but they never seemed to actually have anything the next year. It was like, what did you work on? What did you accomplish? And it was like, well, I'm still thinking about this, or I'm still looking for this, or I'm still trying to learn about this. And so when we talked and I told him that I wasn't accomplishing anything, he said, well, why don't you just make 8 pages by next year? And I was like, cool. So I went home, put on my project manager hat, I made a schedule, and I sent it to Buddy so that I could be held accountable. And he said, this is really good. Let's send this to some other people and see if anybody else wants to do it. And we made the 8-page challenge. And Buddy, steered the whole thing. It's a comic book school thing. We've got, all the learning and stuff on there. But as sort of we got through the first couple of steps, we realized we were getting a lot of really good content. And we thought we really need to put this out so people can see it. And so we worked to digitally publish it. It will be printed. We will have printed copies this year at New York Comic Con. for people to come and get. It will be a limited release, so get there fast wherever our table ends up being. But anyway, we put together this challenge and we put it out to the community and to the comic book industry at large. If you want to make a comic, if you want to try something new, if you want to get something that maybe, other publishers are not really picking up, we're mostly PG-13, but it's a way to get started in the industry and a way to learn about not just how to make a comic, but how to publish a comic, the business of comics, all of the different steps that after you've drawn it, go into making it a reality.
And that's fantastic. Now, by the way, just to make sure, Buddy's going to be at Comic-Con this year doing his panels.
Yeah.
Yes.
And for those who haven't been on them, go to them. They're fantastic. I've sat and watched as an audience member. When I was with Pronto Comics, I sat actually up and was looking at like portfolios and stuff. It is a fantastic, all his panels. You can sit in there all day and just constantly learn. It's fantastic.
We'll have the full list in Buddy's newsletter this month, I think he said.
Awesome. That's great. And also the Comic Book School website, if you guys haven't been on it, you can just go on and into the Creator Connection section, right? And just read. I think there's some videos too, correct? I haven't been on it in a little bit, but it's just the education of how to do it. But it's great if you can participate in this. So you had issue 2 come out. So issue 1 was successful. We put it on here. I read it. I thought it was fantastic. I was hoping to be part of issue 2, which I kind of am a little bit. I was hoping to be more involved, but scheduling kept me from that. So I'd like to hopefully get back in, maybe for your next one if you're doing it again.
Oh, yeah.
So was a lot of, let me ask you, the people who worked on the first issue, panel 1, how many of them returned for panel 2?
Quite a few, actually. I don't know that I have the exact number, but we had a lot of repeat creators.
I think we had like half of them.
And the writing.
That's great.
I think about half altogether. There's more. One thing that we should say is that there's illustrated flash fiction in addition to comic books. We have more illustrated flash fiction this year and slightly fewer comics. But between the two, I think that we did retain about half the people from last year, and we have half new people. Alex illustrated one of the flash fiction pieces. So that was another thing, like as another way in, like you can, if you didn't have time to illustrate a full 8-page comic, you could illustrate one of the prose stories that we had. Okay. It was either 1 or 2 pages of prose with 1 or 2 page full page illustrations. So there were multiple entry points for people to get in at various points in the process.
That's
and then we also had people who maybe weren't able to submit to a specific story, but were part of the community and helped out with not only the design of the book, but also some character art and a lot of other things in the community. So it's a big support system.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Just give me 1 second. I'm just trying to do something with my computer here. And
try turning it off and on again.
Mr. IT.
Yeah, Alex thought he was getting the night off from his day job, right?
Oh, yeah.
I never do. No rest from the wicked.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, then maybe we'll bring this into IT conversations later. Towards the end, you talk about the proper VPNs we should be using.
I don't support Windows.
I'm on a Mac right now.
All right.
But I will be switching to Windows eventually. Telling you that now.
Why?
You want to hear? I'll tell you the story real quick. I'm tired of Macs. I'm tired of how expensive they are. I'm tired how they upgrade constantly, and then something like Wacom doesn't upgrade the stuff for my Cintiq, and I got to sit and wait a month, 2 months, 6 months so I can actually draw again.
Well, and then when you do, it's buggy as hell.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
The worst part. You finally update, and you're like, okay, Wacom's updated. I got the right drivers. Then you update it, and Wacom's like, no, that's not the right driver. But I'm not going to tell you which one is.
I feel like that's more a problem with Wacom than anything.
You know what? I will tell you. I just picked up the new Mac Mini, and the M1 chip in it is savage. It's just as powerful as the iMac, the most powerful iMac out there. It's an amazing product. I can turn it on and off in like 10 seconds.
That's fantastic.
It's a killer computer, and I understand the lack of third-party support up front, or the pain of it. I could definitely understand that, because I've been getting the elbow from PC gamers for years now, but it's cheaper than their regular computer products or whatnot, and it's totally worth it if you're going to stick around a little bit longer.
The Mac Mini is definitely worth it. My only gripe is, as someone who works in tech, I don't like to be an early adopter. And one of the guys on my team, he got the M1, and he couldn't he had to do all these crazy hacky things to get back into Intel mode to do work. And I was like, okay, I'm not hopping on that. And plus, my current machine, which is an Intel, a 5-year-old Intel iMac, has the same level of RAM as the top of the line M1 chip. I'm like, I'm gonna wait a bit.
That's fine. I totally understand that.
Yeah.
Totally get that.
All right, guys, we got to get back.
Before we talk tech, right? Because I can go.
This will be an off-air conversation.
Nerds.
When Wayward Raven comes back on, we'll make it a tech talk. I'll bring you and Juan, from Adventures of what is Systems Admin.
Oh yeah, I love that dude. Yeah. We talk all night tech.
I love that guy too. Anyway, let's get back. Even Buddy had a comment. He said the editorial team brought in a lot of new talent, which expands the mission of the comic book school, and that's great. I love that you're getting a lot new talent in. Just as someone, not as someone who makes comics, but as someone who loves comics, I love seeing new stuff out there. I haven't had a chance to read everything since I got this, but I went through a few of the stories, a few of the flash fiction, a few of the comics that I got to see. It's really well put together, guys. I'm gonna show it right now, and let's talk. I won't go through the whole thing. I don't want to give everybody, but if anybody has certain pages they want me to highlight, just let me know. So you guys in the audience, this is what's catch you up. Buddy Scalera runs Comic Book School. He put together Creator Connection, and what it is it's a way to get creators to put out 8-page short stories for the most part, besides the flash fiction, which is 1 or 2 pages, it could connect writers and artists, right? You're teaming people up. Is that correct? Or are you asking for them to come with the team?
No, both. It's whatever you like. If you're a writer, if you're an artist, if you're an inker, a letterer, we have some independent editors that sometimes come by and give their 2 cents. But it's just a community of creators. If you want to have anything to do with the creation of comics, and the business of comics, we love your input. Some people come in teams already, and some people will meet up with people inside the community. Sometimes you'll work with various teams. It just depends on what you're interested in and what your level of involvement is.
Yeah, I was lucky that through just dumb luck, I ended up teaming up with somebody who's a friend of mine for years. So yeah, it's a very small world.
We need to see all the editors in that CBS t-shirt.
Yeah.
Where's yours, Chris? I know you have one.
I have one, and I actually used it as the table banner for Eternal Con.
Okay.
I remember,
So I do have it. It's around here somewhere. I got to put it on.
Chris, I didn't realize you were at Eternal Con. I went for one day. I guess I didn't get a chance to meet you.
Oh yeah. It was a fun little experience.
Yeah. Were you there Saturday or Sunday?
I was there both days.
Oh, okay. I was there just on Sunday.
I think it was ships in the night, because I think you had come to the table and he stepped away.
Probably, because I came in for
likely.
Ramon Gill's panel. I went for to be on that, and I just kind of hung out at the table with him. But let's go through this here. So this right here, by the way, is this the cover now, or is this?
That is actually just the cover art before we put all the wingdings on it.
All right, and you currently have that.
I do. Do you want to see it?
Well, we'll take a look at it a little later, because then I got to stop the screen share and stuff. But
no worries.
I do want to show it, so because you showed it earlier where it was you compared or not compared, but you had both up from panel 1 and panel 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I enjoy the cover. Who drew the cover?
Bolu.
Okay.
Bolu
Oreo.
Oreo.
Bolu.
Oreo.
How do you say Oreo?
Oreo.
I can't say his name. The
Yeah,
man,
I like
the Bolu has the sexiest voice
He really
on the
does.
planet.
I
This
wish
guy,
he was here because it's
like,
just that good.
he
Okay.
can kind of out Morgan Freeman.
Really?
Like, almost.
Yeah.
He's become kind of the voice of comic book school. Other than Rob Anderson he's also got quite the sexy voice.
I got to get him on the show. I talked to him. I've talked to him on Facebook a couple of times, but he's someone
Great guy.
I'd love to get on the show. So this is there 2 pages of table of contents? Yes.
It will be the table of contents. It's
Okay.
quite messy. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. This is before the final version comes out. And on page 20, and not officially page 20, but somewhere on page 20, I guess in here, right? The timing, that's what I kind of had a page in, I believe.
You had a page in Mr. Stupendous.
48.
I thought that was the...
They're all the time in. Last
They're
year
all
we did just
Oh,
random
okay,
stories, but
that's
this year we
the-
had a theme. So
Yeah,
every
okay.
single story has something to do with the time in.
Okay.
So some of them are literally named the time in, others have the time in sort of inside
All right,
their
I wasn't
content.
aware there was a theme this year, but that's great. I have a group coming on next week who had an anthology they put together that had a theme too. I like when anthologies have themes to it. Kind of helps narrow down ideas.
Mm.
So
You would think, but we still got a very diverse group of comics in here, as you can see. But they all are tangentially at least connected to the theme of the time in.
So these are the flash fictions here, or?
This is actually a forward that was provided
forward.
to us by
Okay.
Brian Polito. One of the
Oh,
great
okay.
things about Comic Book School is that Buddy has a Rolodex of comic book industry connections, and
Yeah.
he's constantly getting us in touch with people in the industry, both through live streams and having them as guests at certain panels and things like that. So you can meet a lot of people who are already in the industry and working in the industry, and people that you've looked up to for a long time. So it's really kind of fun. Brian Polito wrote our forward, and Jamal Eichel wrote our afterward.
Awesome.
So
I just want to share Buddy's comment because it cracked me up. The original theme was Michael Gracia.
Yes.
And you know what? I'm okay with that theme for panel 3. Just so
okay,
you know,
we'll keep that in mind.
Keep that in
We'll
mind.
definitely put that
And
on me.
I
on
came
the
prepared for
agenda.
that theme. So
I was going to say, my entire issue of comic will be about a bunch of bearded guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bald,
it.
bearded.
I'm good with that. I'm good. I recently just kind of shaved. I'm down to the goatee, but my beard's coming back soon.
I'm completely jealous.
Hey, let's talk about jealousy elsewhere. All right?
yeah, I miss having long hair.
I got
Yeah,
Mine just gets in my eyes once in a
Nice.
while. Just,
Actually, it's funny. I saw a picture of me recently from years ago with hair, and I'm like, I don't miss it. I don't miss it at all.
oh, man.
So if I take mine down to show you how long it is, I'll never get it back up. It's like everywhere. So
So intro by Kris
Oh.
here.
That character art was drawn by Mike Ponce, who was the artist from from the first anthology stories. He did my story,
Yeah.
and he contributed these awesome character arts of all the editors. And mine just happens like I remember looking at it and saying, "Man, that is a big brolic biker dude." That guy looks kind of scary. I wouldn't want to mess with him. I smile too much. That guy's not smiling, but it's still a great picture of me, and I love the character design.
So does everyone get their caricature here?
Yes, that
Oh,
does.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's during the pandemic, I end up wearing the fedora a lot less. It doesn't go with the headphones. I'm in the house with small children, and you would not be able to hear me most of the time if I didn't have the headphone. So, but the fedora doesn't really sit on top of it. Well,
we're really looking for somebody to make a fedora headphones.
fedora
combo
headphones.
to
Yeah, I
fit
want a
Ari's
branded
head
one. Yeah.
someday.
I got you.
Mr. Tech Man there.
Give me a week. That's Alex.
So
So this is the first comic story that's Jack Holder and Evan Scale. We saw was it? Did we just see Evan in the chat before?
Yeah, Evan is in the
oh,
chat
yeah.
somewhere. Yeah.
They were in the first first anthology as well, and they actually launched a Kickstarter based around the world where their stories take place. So both stories take place in the same universe, and they had a successful Kickstarter very recently that was in the same world also. So they are a team who returned with the same team, working in the same universe, and it's a fantasy story like the last time.
Yeah.
Okay.
You see
They're
it.
very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Evan's got some amazing artwork.
Yeah. This is nice stuff here.
Yeah, I remember seeing the rough version of this. This looks really good finished.
And that's actually what's really cool about the community in general is when people are going through like the steps of the 8-page challenge, they're kind of being led by Buddy and his posts, basically saying, okay, this is the writing phase, this is what you do. This is the penciling phase. This is how to do it and everything. And so everyone that's involved in the anthology tries to stick with the schedule that we have. And so like what Alex was just saying, seeing this stuff in black and white, just the rough pencils was really interesting. And it's also fun to see because we're all posting it online. It's fun to see how people react to it initially, basically giving feedback, whether or not certain angles work or whether or not something's, legible or not, as far as what's being seen in the panel. And seeing if the artist goes in and tweaks something, or maybe in the inking phase, certain things get, I guess, kind of boldened and just make more sense in the inking phase. It's really cool to see these stories come to life from, the scripts that they start out as, or even before that, the ideas that the writers are posting. Like these are 3 of my ideas. Tell me which one I should go with for the anthology. So seeing Evan's pages come to life, seeing all of the artists' pages come to life, and all that has just been really fun in the process.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic. I'm looking at this, and it's funny because I'm in the process of kind of stepping back on comic production for a while, just focusing on animation. But I see this, and it's like I just want to draw comics again already. It's great stuff, and I love this piece. This
That's Darren Sanchez. Darren Sanchez illustrated that for Ted Visian's piece. Aaron did the colors on that one, it's a great piece. It's great to have that. Aaron's one of the pros that Buddy brought on. So the series of blog posts that Buddy did for the first challenge that were redone and expanded for the second challenge, that showed the pitch document, it showed with the editor's feedback, it showed the script with the editor's feedback, the pencils, the inks, and all that. The editor who was giving the feedback was Darren Sanchez, who did this piece. So it's great that it's not only the pros who wrote the introduction and the afterword. We had one of the people who was a mentor to the community and who was on Buddy's show very, very early in the first challenge actually participate in the anthology and contribute this illustration.
That's great. I just want to go to the comments real quick. Joe Ryan says, I'm working on a creator-owned as we speak, which is, that's fantastic. But Joe, if you're going to New York Comic Con, make sure you stop by these panels, stop by their table, get a copy of this printed, and just maybe be part of panel 3. This I wanted to look at. I didn't know if this was a drawing, an actual photograph in the thumbnail.
Yeah, it's actually an illustration.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
What's really cool about some of these illustrations for the flash fiction, we had a bunch of writers that didn't have artists to do their illustration for their prose.
Yeah.
And Ari, was it you or was it Buddy
No,
that got
Buddy.
it was Buddy.
Buddy who got it. Yep.
Yeah, Buddy had a connection with a teacher from down in Brazil. So
Lipe Diaz.
Yeah,
Lipe Diaz.
and
We met him a couple of years ago at New York Comic Con. I know he was. Alex, do you remember that year in Twins? He was there with his portfolio, flipping through.
I mean, most of Twins is a blur,
Yeah,
but yes,
yeah.
I do remember him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
he
trying
was
to
up-
ask anybody
he was up
anything
years
from
ago,
Twins.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ain't gonna work. But yeah,
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Lipe,
Yeah.
Lipe,
What was the name of the
pretty
school,
cool.
buddy? Buddy's got the name in the comments.
Oh,
But it
the
was
guy's
this-
name, but
Yeah, Lipe's.
Oh, Lipe's name we have.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Lipe Diaz is yeah.
is the artist on this.
No,
No,
Lipe
this is-
Diaz
No,
is
so
the guy who
Lipe's-
wrote the school. This is one of
Oh.
his
This
One
is
of his
student
students.
work.
Okay.
Like,
All right, sorry.
I mean,
I got
this
confused.
is
for a second.
incredible. So
That's okay.
gorgeous.
So yeah, basically Lipe supplied 4 artists, I believe, for
Okay.
4 different stories for
Yeah.
this anthology. And so yeah, we've got several artists from down in Brazil who's helping out with the anthology. So it's really cool to see also how Comic Book School has now with the second anthology really stretched its wings globally.
Mhm.
My artist on one of my stories is from Argentina.
Okay.
And then he's down in Buenos Aires, I believe. The artist that was on my comic book story,
Mhm.
he was all the way in the Philippines. So
Evan
yeah,
is in Greece. Evan, who did the first story, is in Greece, I believe.
yeah.
and
Jared
is
is from Australia.
I'm assuming here's another. I'm assuming that's one of his students again.
Same,
Yes.
same
That's the
student,
same
Same
artist. Two
Same
pieces
artist.
for
Yeah,
one.
you can tell kind of in the style here.
Yeah,
I go
yeah.
back to this one, and the artist in me. When you're in, I don't know if you guys studied art actually in college, but you'd spend months just drawing hands, and drawing feet and stuff, and just seeing that hand is like,
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this is somebody who really knows their stuff. They did an amazing job there, and I love that.
It's
And
so
then I
funny
come
you say
down-
that because I looked at that and the first thing I thought was this guy has drawn 10,000 hands.
Yeah, yeah. But you went to school for art too, correct?
I did.
Yeah, so you know what I'm talking about. Where you just sit and spend months.
It's funny. I think the rule is a painting or a drawing or whatever. If you see it in like a museum or an exhibit or something, it's usually more expensive or worth more just if there are hands and feet within the painting.
That's
Really?
true, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the Lipe Diaz School and Studio of Visual Arts.
Cool.
They're producing some quality talent down there.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
gorgeous. Gorgeous stuff. What do we got down here?
And that's
something
Jared
very-
Alvin. Mega
The
Meat
Meat
Bucket
Bucket
Mega
Mega
Babes.
Babes.
It's one of my favorites. He actually contributed to the first anthology as well. He does a lot of these comics. He's down in Australia, in Queensland, I think. I might have that wrong, but yeah, he's been drawing for a long time, and his artwork is very good. His stories are very funny.
That's
Yes.
great.
This
I'm
is
looking-
actually a direct sequel of the story he did in the first anthology.
Yes.
So,
Really?
So if you read his first, I mean, you could read it without having read the other story, but if you read the other story, you will see that it's actually a continuation from where he left off last time.
This is gorgeous stuff.
Yeah.
I really
He's great.
enjoy the colors on here. And the cartoony style, for me, that's kind of like my go-to thing. That's what I tend to look at a lot. I think he does some fabulous work here.
Yeah, Jared's awesome. And Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong. He comes from a design background, right?
Yeah, a little bit. He does design. He's actually worked on like 90% of our YouTube and web headers this year. He's just Johnny on the spot with getting it done. So
Yeah.
he's one of our go-to graphic guys. He's
great.
He's the most sweetheart of a man I've ever met.
Yeah,
So.
definitely. Very nice guy.
Now this is one of yours coming up, Chris.
Yeah, this is one of mine. Oi. First person amazingness.
Mythosin. So is
this
this
is,
this is a flash fiction piece?
Yes, it is. And this is drawn by Jock, the gentleman I met from down in Argentina, and
Yeah.
it's I was so happy, and he was extremely professional and extremely speedy. Like
Yeah.
I got layout, pencils, inks, and colors all within a week and a half.
Wow.
I think I've seen his work. This guy's really good. Yeah.
This guy's
Yeah,
really solid.
Yeah.
I think he does work with a team, like a small team. But yeah, between all of them, they just know how to get it done. And I was really pleased with the story and how it came out. And yeah, this story is a first for me because it is prose, and I've never written prose before. I'm working off of an IP actually given to me or given permission from my father. This is one of his ideas. Yeah, so it was really fun to work on this project.
This is great. I love his style.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This is gorgeous. Wow. Let's kind of scroll down this.
I see something coming up. Oh,
there
there
we
it
go.
is.
Hey.
Is this yours?
Yeah, this is mine. Yeah, it's a departure from my normal cartoony style, and yeah. So this is done by Jacob Barker. It was his story. He gave me the sample, and the moment I started reading it, this is what I pictured. Just a dude on a pier, and I think so his instructions were just to have him like it was like a pier scene, but with creepy shadowy figures in the back. I'm like, wait. If the whole thing is about like a reflection of oneself, like there's nobody behind him. The reflection is in the water. So we started bouncing off all these ideas, and this just came out. Like I think this is pretty much close to the original like draft sketch I did with just more shadows, slight position changes, and I think originally it was a little brighter because I wanted you to see like the brickwork in the background. But the more and more we toned it down, the creepier and creepier it felt. So yeah,
I do love that image.
Yeah. And it's really. I remember when you showed it to me at Eternal Con because you were actually there, and I was like, it's really good, and it was surprising because it's very different from your other stuff, which is also very good. But I love how people like Kris is trying to, Kris is writing flash fiction for the first time, like writing prose for the first time. Alex is doing a different art style than the one that he might be known for, and that's one of the things about this anthology, is it gives you that opportunity to try new things, and the results are excellent, I think.
What was actually funny is, speaking of like trying new things, what got me and Joel working together was originally I had written a story and he was going to draw it for me since we've been friends for a few years, but the timing just didn't work out. So I had like the draft of the script and he started doing character sketches, but because of timing, we decided let's just unfortunately, let's stick with what we know to get it into the book for the deadline. Yeah. But I think even this is like, we hit our strong points. Yeah. So
I want to say something about this piece.
Yeah.
And it's a part that I love now. No, because I didn't read the story for this one. I just looked at the picture a lot, And now that I know it's about reflections, I love how he's not reflected in the water.
I'm glad you caught that.
That was when the second you said reflections, and I'm like, he's not reflected in the water. I like this, and it makes me want to go read the story like right now.
Yeah, and in fact, the only thing that is reflected is the house and the moon.
Yeah.
Which, makes it a little more interesting.
Yeah, that's a great piece, Alex.
Yeah, you did a great job there, man. I'm just going to skip over to the art mostly. Oh, Mr. Stupendous.
Mr. Stupendous.
All right.
There we go.
This is my story. It's a returning character from the previous anthology. One thing Buddy challenged us to do when he introduced the theme of the time in was to, if we had a character from the first anthology, to use that character again. And I know some people did and some people didn't. Like we saw Jared did, I did, obviously. Some people didn't. Some people wrote different stories. And I was thinking, like, how can I get this superhero satire spoof type thing to fit this theme of the time in, which I think, creepy Twilight Zone type thing initially, at least. And we ended up with the antagonist in the story is a time-jumping villain named Dr. Wen, not like any other doctors at all that you might have heard of that jump through time. Why would you even ask? But and he jumps to different time periods through history. And the cool thing is that every time he jumps a period, the style of art changes to match the comics of that time period. And there are actually 4 different artists on this comic, 5, including Ariel did the cover. She was the artist for the original Mr. Stupendous story. She did that cover, which is an homage to Flash 123, The Flash of Two Worlds, which we thought was appropriate to the story. And then Dee did the first 2 pages, which is the present day, and you see the whole list of there. And then it goes to the Golden Age next. And our host, Michael Gracia, did the Silver Age page that is immediately following it. So
we can just stop here. No, I'm kidding.
It is a really good page, though. And the whole video that you did drawing the characters of that style.
Yeah.
It was for EbionCon, right?
And that was just for fun because
I watched so many of your videos. I can't remember where I see them.
It was the Kirby one where you
showed
it
was
really interesting. Yeah, that was really good.
I love that this looks like it's on. I love that this looks like it's on newsprint.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went and I found I don't know, some kind of textured paper just on the internet, and I dropped it over and did some, Photoshop, overlay or whatever, so I can get that look. But yeah, let's go on. We don't need to stay. I'll be honest. I'm so thrilled I got to be part of it in this way. And even though there's, I enjoy what I did, I hate looking at my own artwork. So I want to skip it.
So there's Sebastian Bonet, the anime style Far Future page. Then we jump way back in time on the next page, back to the Renaissance Shakespearean English Renaissance page there. That's Evan Scale, who we saw earlier in the anthology.
It's really nice work. I like that a lot.
As well. And then we're going to do that one is sort of the 2000s overpumped kind of character, which actually ended up being a key plot point in the story. Sebastian actually jumped in there when another artist had to jump.
Yeah, I was going to say that was Sebastian because he showed me some of this stuff.
Yeah, we had an artist who had to drop out. Circumstances of the last 2 years being what it was. And Sebastian stepped up and did a 3rd page. He was going to originally do 2. So definitely very appreciative of him for doing that. Afterwards, this starts jumping around in time to various time periods. That's also Sebastian. And then the final page, we are in the Middle Ages, and that's Evan again for the final page. So it was really interesting to work with so many different artists on the story because everyone has a different style and a different way of working. And the idea is you want to let everybody do their own style that they're good at, and also try to get some continuity between the page turns and things of that nature. And the forums were really helpful for that because we were able to create our own private sub-forum in the comic book school forums where people can share just within the Mr. Stupendous story, where people can share artwork and talk about where their where their page was going to end and how the next page was going to begin, since everybody was kind of working concurrently with the way the schedule was. So that was interesting too.
Yeah, I got to say, Evan, if you're still watching, dude, you're awesome. I love your work.
He's so cool.
Everything I've seen in here is great. I'm not knocking anyone, but this stuff here is just I love what I'm seeing. Just is he also handling the coloring of his own pages and stuff?
Yeah, he does everything. He does. He did everything except the lettering. I wanted to have the same letterer that I had on the first book, because just to get a little bit of consistency and to get the whole file prepared properly, it was better to only have one person doing that rather than 5 different people doing that. But other than the lettering, each person did the entire page themselves. So they did the pencils, the inks, the colors all together.
Who did the letters? Because letterers do need to get a little love
too. C. Doc Lemansky. He's Doc Inks. He does inking also, but he did a letter for me. Doc Inks and at Doc Inks at Doc Letters. And he actually did an incredible job in with all the different styles as well, and especially because he had some personal circumstances of his own that made it difficult for him to do it. But he came through, and it was a difficult lettering job with all of the different styles that he had to deal with. But I think he did
great.
job.
I mean,
He did awesome.
you over
And
here,
like-
this looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Just going through the errors here. I mean, he did a great job with the lettering.
He's very, very good. He was my letterer for the first Mr. Stupendous story in the last anthology, and I wanted to have him again. He was my first choice to letter for this time as well.
Let me tell you, Ari, after reading all of the scripts and the forums and all the like different story ideas, especially when this anthology first kicked off, yours was the one I was most excited for. I loved the script. I thought the idea was genius, and I think it's awesome how you were able to find a bunch of different artists to draw a bunch of different eras, and they pulled it off. It was successful. I mean, you can definitely tell that there's different eras going on with each page, and the level of talent just used just to make 8 pages here. That's truly a nice little sight to see, and I applaud to you and everyone that you pulled together, because I think you guys pulled it off. It was awesome.
Thank you, and thank you to all the artists. They're the ones who make it look good.
I agree with Evan. It was challenging, but it was very rewarding.
And hat tip to Rob Anderson too, because he had 8 different artists in the first anthology, and I kind of got that idea partially from him.
Yeah.
Very different story, but that particular idea I kind of took from him.
Well, I just want to say thank you for letting me be part of it. I really enjoyed the time drawing it, and getting to dive deep into like Kirby art just to kind of be inspired and practice and stuff. So, I mean, I think every artist has Kirby as an influence. So you're like, you just let me read comics for fun, it wasn't, I mean, it was more for learning, but and studying, but I was just like, I got to just sit down and read old Demons and whatever it was,
And that video was great. And I'm a writer. I'm not a comic book artist, but I found it really interesting to see your process going through with the original Kirby drawings and the different things.
I'm actually I have plans to do more stuff like that in the near future. I have I'm trying to reorganize the stuff I do, but I want to like once a week sit down and do videos like that and discuss artists, and for me maybe more animated people, but
well, I'm watching Mike.
Doing
it.
Do
All
it.
right,
Yeah,
thank you,
man.
thank you.
I as a writer myself, I love watching that stuff also.
Thank you.
Like, definitely.
Thank you. Let's move on to. Ooh, this is interesting.
So that's the second one for
the flash fiction.
For the second, that's the second illustration for her story.
Yeah,
Untethered.
Untethered.
Untethered. That's one of my favorite stories in the book.
It was good.
I was in another anthology with her, and I put it out to that group that I was editing the flash fiction anthology, try to get more writers, and she jumped in. I thought it was a really interesting premise of how she had the person get unstuck in time, and I thought it was very strong. The prose was very strong in the story in terms of the story shape and the story arc, especially in such a short piece.
Yeah, it's nice. I'm loving everything I'm seeing here. This is great.
This is for Buddy's story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That looks
Andy
cool.
Siebert.
Andy Siebert.
Yeah.
His stuff was always fantastic. He was also a contributor to the first anthology. He was one of the people who worked on the comic without dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Hibagon?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and so
that was a great one.
He definitely is doing some really cool stuff.
Well, and this is Buddy's flash fiction piece. Buddy told me he hadn't written flash fiction in a number of years. He hasn't written prose in a number of years. We all know about his comics credits, but he jumped in on the flash fiction this time, and we're really grateful for that.
Yeah, and it's good. They're all good, but I mean, it's good.
Yeah, that guy Buddy, he could write. There's a reason why.
Yeah, he should get into comics or something.
His name sounds so familiar.
Who's this? Who?
Let me ask you a question, because this book is kind of long, right? It's I forgot the amount of
It's
pages.
going to be 144 pages again.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, let me ask you. I don't mind going through it like I'm doing right now, showing page by page. But is there any particular things you want me to have that you want to stand out that you guys are like, you got to show the audience this? Or
If it were up to me, you'd show them every page. I think they're all good, but
okay. I'm just asking. I mean, listen, I have no problem. I'm enjoying just going through this right now.
Maybe a couple from each story.
yeah.
I just want to appreciate the name Titus the Mightiest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was cool.
This
So
is
this
George.
is George Dawkins.
George Dawkins with
I like this.
Bottleberry. I don't know exactly how to say his artist's name.
I'll just jump around. Ooh, that's a nice bear.
Yeah. The fight in this was just epic. It's golden. So,
Well, I won't show the ending.
okay.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
let people. I'll stop doing
Actually,
that there. What?
This one and the one before it are the same artist. Really creepy.
Yeah.
These come off a little horrific. I liked it. The prose was awesome for it.
Wait, this one and this one's from the same artist?
Yeah. The
Yes.
two with the nun.
It's
Yeah.
another one of Lipe students.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I like it. Just looks two totally different styles.
It
Yeah.
does look very different. Yeah.
But I like this a lot. This is the kind of something that would give me a nightmare, but it's nice. So.
The second one
To be
looks like
fair,
he's
the
doing
story
kung
might
fu.
also give you a nightmare.
Well, I'll read it in
Good.
daylight then. And then this one here, just this just kind of makes me laugh a little bit though. It's a little more
innocent.
cartoony.
Little innocent.
Yeah. I like this stuff. But thanks for the notice. I will read that in the daylight.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this is awesome already. Is that Elvis, Bigfoot, and who? I'm
I'm trying to remember who is that.
I'll read it and
It
find
was
out.
Elvis Bigfoot, and there was Wombat Man, but he
Yeah.
wasn't
The waitress picture.
Kid Wombat, but
Yeah.
I think-
that's the waitress, and that's the waitress in the picture.
But yes,
there
the
they are.
fact that there is a Bigfoot with Elvis in the same story, that alone, this story was awesome because it reads like a Bigfoot, Elvis, and blah 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 walk into a bar.
Big
Yeah.
Kind of
deal.
joke. Yeah.
This is great. This is just great.
It has a nice twist at the end too.
Very.
Yeah.
And then this was Phil's comic. We almost
this?
didn't get this one in. We had a lot of people because of all the stuff going on in the last 2 years. I mean, everybody's got stuff going on. But they actually they missed the original deadline, and they sent us a quick email and said, "Hey, like, is there any way?" And I was like, "I'm gonna put the pages in. When you get it done, send it." And they got it. They rushed, and they had a lot of stuff going on, but they made it a priority, and they got it done. And we
it looks
still got
great.
it in. And it's excellent because it's a really good read, and the artwork is, of course, fantastic. It's Phil Burnett.
Yeah. When I look at I'm sorry to interrupt. When I look
No,
at
go
the
ahead.
first page here, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the group Fugitive Poems. They've been on my show a couple of times. They're two guys, Christian and James. And when I first saw this, it kind of reminded me of James's work. I didn't know if I was going to ask you if James was in there, but
No,
Oh,
this
guess
is this
not.
is Phil
Phil-
Burnett.
Phil
He
Burnett.
contributed with our first anthology,
Okay.
and then again with this one. But apparently, this is a story that he's been wanting to write with his friend Mark for. He kept saying decades yesterday. So, but yeah, they finally put it to paper, and now they're working on moving forward with this group of characters. So
yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I like
Well,
it a
you
lot.
see yet another genre, yet another
Yeah.
style. We got,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah. So this is Joel Jacob Barker's illustrations for my flash fiction story. And it's a very different story than the other one. This one is more of that creepy Twilight Zone type of story. Joel wanted to do black and white illustrations that were more symbolic and more like a New Yorker illustration. What was how he described it to me. And this was one of the ideas that I had that I might have done for the comics had it not been for Buddy's push to do Mr. Stupendous again. So I ended up turning it into a flash fiction story.
which I'm really glad because we love Mr. Stupendous.
Yeah. Wow. I'm just looking at his work. I like his work a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen it on like Instagram, but
And Joel was the writer for Alex's flash fiction piece.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So he is both a writer and an artist. Then. And this is
Yeah,
our.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, yeah. So we've been friends for a while, and like I've been watching his progression. I'm immensely proud to see where he's come as an artist. Well, not proud. I mean, I admire where he's at right now. And it was funny with our story. Where it was like, yeah, we could have our styles kind of lined up. So, but it's just good to see more of his artwork in his book. So,
This is Ariel and Kevin. Ariel, who did the cover for Mr. Stupendous. This is her artwork. And Kevin, who ran our tech for the first year and never got his story into the first anthology because we gave him so much work to do on the tech side, building the website. So we're really happy that he made it into this one with the flash fiction piece.
Yeah, especially with him being MIA for a lot of the process because he has to go away for the summers and work at a camp.
Yeah.
So the fact that he was able to get this piece in is a nice accomplishment on his part because he's also a very fresh writer. And I think this is his first published thing.
Yep.
Yeah, this is nice. I love how she drew the horse.
Yeah.
Horses are like my least favorite thing to try to draw. I can't do
They
it.
are
yeah,
the
yeah,
most
I agree with
complicated
that.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, just period. But
And,
the
you know, it's fun-
portions that and she did a great job.
I got to learn under Tom Gill, if anybody knows who he is.
Oh, nice.
And I spent a couple of months learning from him. And this guy was like a master horse artist. I mean, he worked on the Lone Ranger comic book. He ghost drew the Lone Ranger comic strip when there was deadline issues. He I mean, anything that had horses back in like the 50s and 60s and said like Bonanza, whatever it was, he was drawing those comic books. And the one thing I never learned to draw from him was a horse.
Oh.
He taught me. It was a cartooning thing, so I learned inking. I learned all this great stuff, but I never needed to draw a horse for any of the projects, and so I never got his critique on any of my horse drawings. But he did hate my inking. I can tell you that.
Oh dear. Well, that's
Really?
that's similar. One of my mentors at Animation Mentor was Demos Versalis, and he did the animation sequence in Spirit. You know, the DreamWorks movie about horses.
The horse movie. Yeah.
So basically, the horse is running downhill and then uphill, and the camera leads into the horse and then makes a complete 360 around the horse while it's running. It's the most complicated shot I've ever seen. And I was like, you use 3D, right? He's like, no, it's 2D. He drew that. And I was like, I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy.
It's
like,
it's hard. I'm gonna have to talk to you privately. I've never met anyone who went to the Animation Mentor program.
Class 4.
All right, and I have I've had college students in the past wanting to take it, and I couldn't give them any positive or negative feedback. I said it always looks good, so I want to chat with you just so I can get some feedback on it.
I'm a big supporter of Animation Mentor. I think they're great.
Awesome. Let's go over here. Nice. I like this.
This is Christian's. He is amazingly deep and really talented.
And this whole thing is this part of that story, or was that part of Flash Fiction?
No, that's
this is the story.
Yeah, and he does everything himself.
Yeah, the story.
He's one of the few people in
art.
the anthology, who does everything himself. Most of them are teams of various artists and writers, different people doing penciling and coloring and whatnot. He does the entire thing himself.
Yeah, Christian and Jared both always do their
own.
Yeah.
And this was a cool story. I like the story too.
I did
This
too.
was a very cool story. It had a nice noir kind of feel to it.
Yeah, I won't show the ending.
It turned out great.
Kind of like the color scheme.
Yeah, it's very intense.
And the whole thing fits the mood of it. It's done well.
This actually has like a Blade Runner kind of feel.
It did a little bit. Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Figuring out the mystery,
Yeah.
Well, so this is another one of Lipe's students, and this is for Kris Durston's story, who I met through the same anthology where I met Emily, who we talked about earlier. And Chris's story is interesting because it is the most, like, if we're talking about hard science fiction based on actual science and scientific theories, it is the most science-based story that we have, and the theory that he has about time is very cool, and it's based off of real theories about time that are really interesting, and he explains them really well. It's again a different style. We don't have very much hard science fiction here, but that's what Kris does, and Kris, it's really really interesting how he explains the theory of time that the story is based on here.
Nice. I just love looking at this stuff. Some of these pictures, I don't even want to read the comics. I just want to look.
You get caught up in a little bit of both.
Yeah. But I think that's me as an artist anyway. I always tend to go for the art. It doesn't matter what comic I read. I'll start reading, and like 2 pages in, I stop and I just kind of flip through, and then I got to go back and read the book.
I'm the same way. And then like halfway through the 3rd page, I'll be like, oh, I stopped reading like 2 pages ago.
And I'm studying the composition and the characters and all. It's this looks great though. I love this.
This is Kris's story.
Yeah, this is my 2nd story. This is with the artist out in the Philippines. I almost had a little freak out session. He was unfortunately he's got a 6-month-old who caught COVID right during like month 2 of our creative process, and that took up his time, and he was able to bang out these pages for me, I guess in like a solid month after everything kind of got cleared up and everything. So he finished off the pencils, inked it himself, and the pages look amazing. I'm really proud of it.
Who did the lettering on here?
That's me.
That's you. I got to tell you, even though I love the art, the lettering might be my favorite part of this.
Stop.
No, dude, right here, how the comic is all in black and white, a little gray tone, and then just how the words pop. Usually I'm one of those people who's like, don't put red on black. I hate that. But it works because of the way it's balanced off the white. It's not just all red and whatever. You balance this very nice.
Thank you.
That little burst of red in places just helps things stand out. And then when you move down and you got these little like gray boxes to help it pop from the art, it's fantastic. I mean, the art is gorgeous, but the lettering is I think my favorite part of this story already, just visually.
Thanks. I will definitely take that. This is yay me. I am not a letterer. I'm learning as I go. Like anybody, they look at what everyone else is doing and everything. I'm still figuring out. The design app that I'm using is Affinity Designer. So like
a lot of people awesome. Are moving to that.
It's
so
a
much
great
of my
app.
work with it.
Yeah, it's awesome. I bought their entire suite, and I've only used the design app so far. But I mean, you see what I'm able to do with it. It's really good app, and I'm glad that the lettering is able to stand out.
No, that's great. I got to look into those. I'm still on the Adobe stuff. Once they get an animation,
just send me the link, but
what?
I haven't switched over yet.
Oh yeah, no. I think once they have an animation software for me, maybe I'll switch over. But until then, Premiere, After Effects, and Adobe Animator are like what I work in primarily. So
give me a couple minutes. I'll talk your ear off out of all of those softwares.
As long as talk after then, because
after the show, you can talk to me all you want, but just get me to have some animation stuff in there, and I'm good to go.
Only thing I'll say is subscription free.
I know that's one of the things. Like I've been drawing comics in Clip Studio Paint. I know that's you pay for it and stuff, but I'm preferring it. Some of the pens and pencils in there over Photoshop.
Same.
So I think we're getting to another caricature of someone.
Oh yes,
that's Buddy.
Buddy Scalera. Our founder.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah.
This is great.
That Buddy. That's a good buddy right there.
Yeah.
I love this. Who do we get? Oh.
Yeah, I'm in there somewhere. I guess I gotta cut down my text a little bit so you can see me better.
You can see this is you. You can see.
Or
it
you
fine
should
in
just
here.
go to 2 pages so there's more room for you.
That is 2 pages. I got a little verbose in the acknowledgement
here's the-
section.
Oh, and there's
And
the
there's our
afterword.
by Jamal.
All right.
And then we had a couple of variant covers. We actually had 3 people submit covers. Bolu, and then Ari, you're gonna have to help me out with everybody.
That's Israel.
That's Israel Rodriguez.
Israel, and then the last one was Philip.
I think the last one was Philip. Yes.
Okay.
Philip Burnett.
Right here. Very nice.
And those are his characters from his comic from the previous anthology, which was actually coincidentally about time.
Really,
So,
they look familiar. The cowboy here looks very familiar to me.
yeah, the girl, the cowboy, and the young baron or lord or the son of the castle owner. So
This is great stuff.
Yeah.
It's reminiscent of, was it Brave Star? No.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I used to love Brave Star.
It's a deep
Oh my
cut
God.
for the Graybeards.
Yeah, that was like Filmation's last actual project before they closed the doors. Oh man, that was a great concept right there. Could have been bigger than He-Man. But yeah, no, this is fantastic stuff here. I mean, wow. I love what you guys have put together. I think this is great. I do hope I could be more part of, much more a bigger part of it. Next time you do this.
Yeah,
I think this is a great concept. And, unfortunately I won't be at New York Comic Con this year, but I hope all you guys go and have a great time and, have a blast.
Yeah, the comic is scheduled to be released at New York Comic Con as a free digital download from the site like last year's.
Yeah.
And we will also have print copies of the first anthology at the comic book school table.
Mm-hmm.
So wait, will you have this book at New York Comic Con? Or okay.
We won't have it printed. That will only be digital at that point.
Purely because, I mean, technically edits are kind of still going on.
Mm-hmm.
For this copy is the proof, and yeah, we just gotta tweak it, make sure Erin is not on her page by herself unless she's big enough. But yeah, it's great experience. This is my first time. AA and D Alley grabbed me after I weekly put up my hand and said, "I'll help out with the editing," and They definitely showed me the ropes, taught me a lot with this process. So like comic book school is just like, it's an experience that you can get a lot out of it if you decide you want to get a lot out of it. And so I definitely think that, between submitting a comic story and a flash fiction story, plus being managing editor, it's a learning experience that I definitely got the fullest out of. And I want to thank both of them, because without them, saying this is Kris's job, I would have been like, what am I doing? Okay, guys, just
after last year, if you didn't take it, there wouldn't have been a book. Like, we were like, yeah,
Ari and I were like,
Kris's job. This is
we need
Kris's
someone
job.
else. Here, you do this.
Yeah.
I gotta do this and this and this, and you do this one. Ari's got this. I got this.
I do remember, what was it? Buddy did say, is like, if there's no project lead, we're not doing the book. And I was like, shoot, we need to have a book. I'll do it. What? How much harder can it be?
Sometimes you just need one person to just get out and push,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, hopefully we didn't throw you too far into the fire without a life preserver.
Oh, no. I had life preserver. I had a boat. I had, the helicopter that came by, God saved me, everything. It was awesome. I had an experience. It was an amazing experience. I learned so much. And, for all the newer creators that were part of this anthology, I hope that they learned a lot as well. And I do want to see more people try to step up next year, because it really is just like what Buddy's doing with Comic Book School is an amazing experience for anybody who's, fresh into comics or, got some experience under their belt. it's just a solid experience in general, because you're going to learn from somebody, whether or not it's posting your own content in the forums and getting feedback from people, to, you know, just watching Buddy's Tuesdays where he's, you know, interviewing these awesome guests and stuff, or the days when he's not even interviewing guests. He's got, you know, D up on camera with him, and they're doing little office hours kind of stuff. So it's a great experience, and I highly recommend it to a lot of people. So.
Well, and for those people who are experienced, I had a lot of experience in production and animation. Like I've done the production thing a lot. I have never worked with people who weren't doing it professionally, or people who were been in the industry on the production side for a long time. So getting to the drawing side and then teaching that to someone else taught me a whole bunch of things that I didn't know. So telling Kris, you know, as the managing producer or the production manager, it's your job to do these things. And he says, okay, how do I do them? And it just never occurred to me, like, oh, okay, well, let's break that down. Like, this is how you know, make sure everybody's got the schedule. This is how you send follow-ups. This is how you know, talk to different creators. Or Ari and I both had to work with the teams and a person who was managing artists with Lippe School. And so it was, you know, how do we talk to that person to get the artists to talk, you know, to know what they need. And so there's always something new to learn. And it's just so fun.
And the other thing is that we have people in this anthology in every stage of their professional career. We have people ranging from their first published work ever, like they've never had anything published before, all the way up to people like Buddy and Darren, who have had, you know, major work like at Marvel, and everyone in between at various stages of their career. People who've had indie work, people who've had a few things published. At every different stage of their careers, all in the same book together. And seeing that, first of all, it's a great opportunity for people who are first starting to get in a book like that. But also, it's something where you can do something and then you have it. The hardest thing, and Buddy covered this in the note that he did, was that people will ask you, so what do you have? What are you working on? What do you have that I can read, I can put out? And, you know, you might not have a full book yet. You might not have done anything in a while, but, you know, you're part of this book, and you could give them this book. I have a story in here, and it's something that legitimizes you. You know, you have to, you know, you have something, work that you've done that's published, that's available, you know. So, and it's all available for free also, which is a big thing.
And it continues to be free. Like, I can go on the website right now and be like, oh, I didn't get to be part of this, but let me go back and see all the steps and everything that they did. So I can, you know, as an audience member, I could go on to comicbookschool.com, right? That's the website, comicbookschool.com, and just go into Creator Connection and find everything.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Posts, there's a blog post for every step of the process. There's the YouTube videos on the channel, and the forums are up, and all the forums are there. You could go to this challenge, you could go to the last challenge. You
can see everybody's steps along the way.
We also have submission guidelines for hundreds of different publishers and places where you can submit your comic if you already have one. You can get on the forums and post stuff, you know, that you've done that maybe isn't part of the anthology, and get feedback. If you have questions about comics, or you just want to talk about comics, Lord knows we've got enough Marvel threads about, you know, the MCU and DC this, and, you know, if you just want to be interested and talk to other people about comics, you can go here, and the website, the YouTube channel, and the forums are, you know, they're a community place where you can discuss making comics, loving comics, and the business of comics. So we've got Kickstarter people on there. We've got people who publish. We've got recommendations for printers. We've got, you know, every resource you can think of. If you ever get stuck, you can go on here and talk to people like, well, what did you do? Or what would you do in this situation? And people who have been there before are happy to help. And that's, I mean, we love it because we can contribute and get something back. But at the same time, the more people who contribute and get something back, the more different answers, and the more we all get better.
Yeah.
So
It's mind-boggling how Buddy's just giving this away. Like, people pay hundreds of dollars for the masterclass series, stuff like that. That's not even a community. That's just you're getting some information on how to write something or how to produce something or not.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Buddy's built a full community, and it's like, you're giving this away? Okay.
Yeah.
Don't mind if I copy and
he
paste
doesn't want there
everything.
to be a barrier to entry, and I agree with him. Like,
Yeah.
you're
I
interested
completely
in this, you shouldn't have to wait until you can afford it. You
Well,
should just be able to do it and
that's
feedback on it.
that's a thing I do with when I teach is I've never been shy from when I started teaching of just sharing what I know. I don't think there should be any secrets on how things are done. In production and drawing and writing. These days you can go on YouTube, pick up a book, whatever it is, and you can learn. But to have it all in one place like comic book school is fantastic. It's just fantastic
definitely.
to have. I mean, I like that things like that exist. I remember being on forums years ago when, if you want to call the internet was new or whatever, and trying to, talk to people and learn stuff when I was breaking in the late 90s. And, it was a different time. This time, now it's great. And you guys up there, I applaud you for everything that you're doing. Buddy, definitely started it, but you guys are helping and keeping things running, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, I gotta say thank you for including me in this, because it's been a trip.
We love having you, man.
Yeah, definitely. And Alex, I've known you and AA for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
So, being able to work on this with you guys, it's really cool. It's like, I know that guy. And now I've worked with him, not on a specific story or something, but, putting together.
Oh, don't worry. It'll happen. It'll happen.
Oh, it's definitely going to happen. Hell yes.
Mixtures team up.
All right.
Yeah. Alex and I worked on a couple little stories this year.
Man. I can't wait. My turn's coming up. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, that's the other thing. It's like you can meet everybody and talk to everybody, but making it is creator connections, making the connection and actually producing the work and getting it done. This is really taking the whole community a step forward.
Yeah. No,
I'm definitely looking forward for panel 3 when that comes out. I'm going to be first in line.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be looking out for that myself.
Well, then we're calling the two of you in the planning stages. Just saying.
Mm-hmm. And if you want to be project manager, you let somebody know.
We'll see. I literally just put down managing a team a couple weeks ago. I need some time to breathe. I was managing engineers.
Nothing happens until after the new year. So once this goes up, we'll do the press after the new year. Ari and I will get together. We'll call Kris, make sure he's around somewhere, and we'll figure out what we're going to do.
Who?
You're in it now, bud.
I go by Conan.
Conan, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, everybody's welcome.
All right, we got a little comment here. It says, "Wow," and I agree. Having the least amount of barrier to do to entry of doing and submitting comics. Too bad there isn't one for animation or drawn analog category. Hint, hint.
Roger,
Michael, do you know any animators?
No, not at all.
Let's just say comics and animation share a lot of interests together.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that comic book school is ever going to do animation, but I will say those of us who animate also love comics, also love doing this stuff. Get on the forums. Maybe we can start something.
Yeah.
Go to comic book school and .com and see what could happen.
And you know what? That's the way to get things happening, right? I mean, the whole flash fiction section in the anthology, I asked Buddy, I'm like, hey, do we want to do illustrated flash fiction in the anthology? And he's like, if you want to do it, then you want to run it and get that section going. And that's how I first got onto the editorial team was I asked the question, like, are we going to do that? And Buddy's like, yeah, we'll do it if you do it.
Yeah.
If you want to do the animation, you want to run that section, jump on board.
Yeah.
All right. We got a comment
actually...
I missed. I'm sorry. From Joe Ryan. What's the link for Creator Connect? It's just go to comicbookschool.com, right?
Yeah. In the header, there's just a button that says forum. It'll take you right there. And And that's all the Creator Connection forums. The Creator Connection panels at the cons, we will be having one at New York Comic Con. I'm not sure the details yet, but he's still working that out with social distancing and being safe and everything. But he's definitely working that out. There'll be more information in the newsletter, which you can also sign up at the website. But it's all on comicbookschool.com.
And in terms of downloading the book, I think is this book is going up on the site at New York Comic Con. You can't get it until New York Comic Con starts. You can get the anthology from last year, but there is a tab on the Comic Book School site for comics. And if you click on that comics tab, you will get to the Creator Connections anthology. And once this anthology is posted, once this anthology is posted, you will be able to download it for free there as well.
And we'll always make sure it's in the sidebar somewhere too. So if you go to the main page, you should be able to find it.
Yeah, and Joe Ryan did make a comment I didn't get to. He said he won't be at Comic-Con this year, unfortunately. So, but
we'll catch you at the next one then.
Yeah, next one definitely.
What will be the table at New York Comic Con, just in case somebody is there and wants to stop by?
We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
It's
only a week away. You don't know.
That. As far as I understand, the last time we talked to him, all of the information he has is going to be in the newsletter. But the Twitter feed for Comic Book School will have all the updated information as we get it. As far as I know, everything will be in the newsletter. But keep us in mind too. We'll probably, if you need to reach out and find us at Comic-Con.
If you want to go faster, go alone.
If you want to go faster, go alone.
If you want to go further,
go together.
Go together.
I like that.
That's Buddy's big thing.
That's definitely, and it's
There's
totally
wisdom in there.
Totally works. Totally works that way. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. When it comes to like, hey, what are you working on? I would still only have a comic or maybe a comic and a half if it wasn't for the anthology. Now I'm showing off, part of an award-winning anthology. One of my stories is an award-winning story, best story or whatnot. And then I'm part of another anthology. And like, yeah, it's go together. Go together. It's awesome.
That's great. That's great. Well, I think we're going to wrap up. But before we go, does anybody or does it have any last words you want to say and share?
Read my
Come
book.
join next year's anthology.
Read our book, please.
Yes.
Buy my book. Buy my book.
It's free.
That's the fun part, though.
Buy
You
it.
can buy our book online as soon as Comic-Con is up for free.
At the amazing free price range. It's like
Free.
Like a discount.
Free.
Oh my god.
Definitely sign up for their newsletters so that you can find out if you're going to be in New York Con. Stop by their table.
Yes, and then stop by Alex's table as well. You guys are there.
Yeah.
1544. I got my table number.
Oh, you
But
got your
because-
channel. Okay,
How-
1544.
What?
Because we paid for it last year.
Alex,
Oh, there you go. That's why.
But you're that 1544. That's the small press area, correct?
So they actually moved us from like where we used to be because we used to be in the corner by Marvel. This year they're gonna have us further in front. So like it was like kind of like they've been shifting things around. So we're like 99% sure that's our table number, and we're gonna be doing a formal post once we definitely have everything crossed and dotted. But that's what we know so far, and I'm just gonna announce it right now.
And
Mark's
you're all
probably gonna get
set
mad
for
at me.
next. All of you are all set for next week.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, if the train is working, Alex had the experience going the other way.
Oh my God,
yes, we have. Yes, and
I-
you guys have them right there. Mine is over there. Yeah.
I have my
On my
book.
desk, so I
It's going to
can't
be
move it.
arriving the day before Comic-Con.
Oh, I got my fingers crossed for you that there's no issues, man.
Oh my God! I hope there's no issues. I finished one print I'm doing. I got to get it to the printer. I'm probably going to try to do a handful more prints before the show. Thankfully, I can get my stuff done the day before.
Yeah.
Like art prints. Yeah, so.
While I have you,
Ooh.
art prints. Do you
Yes.
tag them?
What do you mean, like watermark them?
Yeah. Do you watermark them?
I don't, mostly out of laziness, but I'm starting to consider some options because the bane of my existence at shows is people who try to take photos of your work and like they don't even ask, can I? They just put it up, they just take it. Like as a trial, sometimes I put my business card next to it. I've been considering watermarking them, but I just haven't decided on the design that I like. So yeah.
I always wondered that because a lot of the artwork, especially from the artists I've been using for the anthology and stuff, they give me artwork that I'm able to use and make prints of. And yeah, I've just like, should I watermark?
Well, so like for me, it's like if it was an original piece, like with my characters, I probably would. A lot of what I do is fan art, so I don't have as much of an emotional attachment as much. I mean, it's still my work, but it's fan art. You know, it's like I'm taking somebody else's IP, so I can't. I don't feel right watermarking it. But if I did something like for instance, if I were to do a print of the piece that I did for comic book school, I would either put like the comic school logo on it, maybe with mine watermark, like to co-own it, but I haven't really put. This is the most thought I put into it.
Right now.
Fair enough.
But no, it's definitely. I think for artists, especially now with social media, I know a few people who've gotten their work like stolen or like people have like cropped out watermarks. So it's like, you know, it's hard because like there's one artist I know who had somebody just take his original piece and then make slight modifications, and then someone put it on a T-shirt. And I know for a fact I've seen some people walking around with T-shirts that look like things that I know I've drawn, but maybe it's just coincidence. So it's hard. It's a never-ending battle.
Yeah.
You know, if you put up I'll just say this: if you put up a sign that says "No photos, please," people are usually very respectful on that.
Yeah,
I've had that issue a lot of times at shows. Like everybody loves my work, but no one wants to spend the money on it.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I tell them I'm sorry, but you know, if I see them with a camera, I just take a sheet of paper and cover it up and explain to them that what you're doing is theft technically. And if you appreciate my art, please pay me for it. Or, you know, I'm not rude about it, but I ask them to kind of move along. You know, I'll never be rude. You know, you don't want to be a jerk to people, but
one of the things I've seen that works, especially if you're posting posters and things like that, I haven't ever displayed at a table, so I can't say, was people who use a watermark on plexiglass or on your covers. So the artwork itself sells without the watermark. If they're going to do something with it after they buy it, you really can't screw with that. But that way at the table, they can't stand back and take the picture because whatever it is that it's being held in has that mark on it. And that usually deters people that are just taking pictures to steal your shit.
This is the kind of thing that people can discuss on the comic book school forums.
Yeah,
it'd be a great, on the forums.
It is up. I posted it online. I actually posted it online. I want to say like a month and a half before Eternal Con. So yes, I got a couple of answers. But and while I had some artists right now, I picked the brains because I got them. So
well, maybe this is a conversation for another show. Con tips or something we'll do. I'll have you guys on. We can talk all con tips, man.
If you do, have Buddy and Rob on because they are our go-tos.
Well, I've been asking. I spoke with Rob through Facebook and said I have to have him on my show. We have a few. Sometimes difference of opinions that might be fun to have.
I would like to watch that.
I'll watch that.
We've put in some of our more kid-friendly con tales in our webcomic, but there's a couple of stories that I have. I'm like, I would love to do this as an illustration or something. It's not right to post.
Well, I'll make sure to reach out to Buddy and Rob when I decide to do that show. I have a few ideas for a few things coming up for November. I'm October. We got a full thing, but yeah, totally do something November, December about that. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna let you guys go. I know some of you actually have day jobs in the morning you need to get to. I'm one of those people too. So I want to thank you guys for coming on
in this room all day, every day. So. This is work.
my dream is to sit in here all day, but unfortunately that doesn't happen. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for coming on. I'll drop you guys backstage so you guys can hang out for a few. But yeah, no, I had a lot of fun tonight chatting with you guys. Love everything that I've seen. I wish you the best of luck at Comic-Con. You guys have a blast. I hope you guys, have a large crowd at your table. All of Buddy's panels are filled, and And, you know, when the new panel 3 starts, I'm going to be paying attention to get into it. All right, guys.
Awesome.
So,
Thank you very much.
So thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
You guys, I hope you'll be back too. So
Yes.
We will.
all right, cool. All right, so tonight was a really fun show for me. It was a great show to start. For me to come back to after 2 weeks. I had 2 weeks off. It was a little weird not doing a show, but it was kind of a nice break. But I sitting back here and I've missed it, and I don't want to miss a week again. So I will see you guys next week. I got a great couple of guests coming on. What just happened? Sorry, my computer did something weird and opened a window without me even touching it. So you guys have a great night. Thanks for watching. And anybody going to New York Comic Con next week, enjoy, have fun, and get a lot of great comics. Look for the indie stuff, guys. I'll see you guys later. Have a great week.